Hello, this is Bogi with the Young Gifted and Black Entrepreneur Awards. I'm here with one of our 2016 honorees, Janell Hazelwood. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You are being awarded for the Journalism and Media Management Award. How does it feel in receiving this?
Oh, it feels awesome, actually. I'm very surprised. I'm, kind of young in my career. I've been in the business for maybe 10 years, and I'm just a budding entrepreneur, so it's an awesome experience.
And how did you start it off in the business?
I started off working with the New York Times. I worked on the copy desk, and then I moved my way up into magazines. I'd always wanted to be a magazine journalist. My first choice was Essence, so I had interned for them as a college student. And then I had an opportunity to work for Black Enterprise, which is one of the top business magazines in the country. So it's been an awesome journey in media.
How did you get the privilege of working for like New York Times and the Black Enterprise? Because that is something not easy to get into.
Whenever I speak with young people and I speak during motivational speeches, I always talk about how most of my life is by faith and by accident. So I attended Hampton University. I'm a very big advocate of HBCUs, and the New York Times had a program there for young journalists. So I had an awesome mentor. His name was Don Hecker, and I knew I wanted to do something in the world that would bring me a lot of money in my salary. And people were like, well, media, how do you make money from that? Yeah. So he came in and he told me that copy editors there at the time made 60 grand a year. Now that's a lot of money at the time for an entry level position. I said, hey, where do you sign up, So I did that program, the New York Times Student Journalism Institute, which is still around today actually for minority and Hispanic students. And I learned so much. I became a student and a teacher, and I ended up working for one of their regional papers, and then I worked my way up to the paper in Manhattan.
So what advice do you have for the younger people that's actually going to college right now and saying that they have a lot of loans and when they come out they don't really have a job? Like what advice do you have for them?
The first advice I would have is this: look at what your resources are and the type of student you are. Some of us aspire to go to certain schools simply based on what our parents want us to do or what the prestige will afford us. But sometimes maybe we should go to community college first, build up those grades, get those scholarships, and then transfer into one of the bigger schools. You know what I mean? So I would first suggest that. Always go for the resources, not the prestige, not just the prestige or just the name of what your parents want you to do. And the second thing I would say is find alternative scholarships. There are so many out there that if you went out on your own, looked up a couple of books, researched on Google, you can find so many different alternative scholarships. A $2,000 scholarship might be small, but 10 $2,000 scholarships add up to quite a bit. Yeah. So, you won't have to do all of those student loans. Also, another thing too, depending on how young students are, I say start when you're in elementary school. Start saving those pennies. Start a business, start saving for yourself as well as your parents in terms of what college you want to go to. So be an entrepreneur. Take your coins and start saving those when you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, and you'll have a nice seed fund for your college education.
So let's talk a little bit about your business, the Boss Moves.
Well, the Boss Moves started as something that I saw in my time in media. Oftentimes, I would deal with a lot of very innovative, bright, brilliant entrepreneurs, but they didn't know quite well how to brand themselves, how to pitch themselves to media. And also, I saw quite a few don'ts in terms of, getting yourself out there and exposed. So I said, instead of complaining, become a resource. A friend of mine motivated me to do that because sometimes I would gripe about, why would someone send me this type of pitch? It had misspellings, it wasn't addressed to the right person, just various things I saw as mistakes. So I said, you know what, instead of complaining, I would be a resource. So I started the Boss Moves, which is a consultancy for women and minority-owned businesses. It helps them with their branding, their social media management, and other business development tasks that they need to do, because many small business owners are more focused on the day-to-day running of their business. They may not be focused on the nuances that will keep them in the game for a long time.
Okay, so what struggles do you face in dealing with these new clients now with consulting?
Oh, wow, that's an awesome question. Okay, so dealing with entrepreneurs, especially even myself, we're very stubborn people, and we also feel like we can take on everything on our own. Also, we want to go from here, 0 to 100, so quickly. And you have to scale your business, you have to scale your career even, you have to scale everything you want to do, right? So sometimes the biggest challenge is having people to be more realistic about their goals and actually setting tangible accountability. Because sometimes entrepreneurs, like I said, they'll get so caught up in the day-to-day that they don't deal with the nuances that will keep them in business, right? So you're kind of running that rat race. You're like someone running on a treadmill backwards. You know what I mean? So that's one of the biggest challenges. Some of my clients, I'm like, okay, I know you want to be at Oprah status, but we have to get to the first million first, you know, before you can get to the billion. So just getting them to be more realistic and scale their businesses is a challenge, which I actually love, because I'm the person that will reel you in and say, okay, we set this goal for this month. Let's go ahead and handle that, and then we can move on to the next multi-million-dollar goal.
So what should we be expected from you in the future?
In the future, 2016, I mean, I love this because 2015 was an awesome year for me. I was able to start my business, get off on my own. I'm very faith-based, so I always follow what I pray about and what God tells me to do. So that's something that I always promote. So 2016, I just really want to follow what God has for me to do. I've really been prompted to kind of pivot into young professionals and doing career development as well, starting people young, learning about being a boss young. So I really want to launch my book, a workbook for kids, kindergarten to 4th grade, as well as high school students, to get them started as to how do you start thinking about what career you want to do, how do you think about the steps that you need to take to really maximize what you offer to the world, and also how do you really monetize your purpose, monetize what God gave you to do, not what mama said you should do, not what society said you should do, but monetizing what you're great at, right? So that's something that I really want to promote in a book this year, so I definitely have to finish that. I also started a new website, so it'll be more of a resource for entrepreneurs, women, and young professionals. Because like I said, I really want to pivot into young people getting a head start in knowing how to strategize your career and your entrepreneurship. When I was growing up, I had no steps, no blueprint to what I'm doing now. I literally, like I said, my only goal was to make a lot of money, make my parents proud, and that was it. So literally, I could have been a circus act making $1 million. I'm like, hey, I'm making my parents proud and making a lot of money. So I really want to empower other young people at a young age to know you can make money off of what you're great at and what you're passionate about. What keeps you up at night? You know, I meet so many people who are creatives, and they're saying, well, how can I make money off of being a person who knows how to speak? Or how can I make money off of doing something more creative? So that's something I'm really working on for this year.
Well, I want to thank you, and we hope to see more of your work in the future. I mean, we're going to be seeing you at the 2016 YGB Awards. I mean, thank you for the excellent work.
All right, thank you. Thank you.